The year is 1420. A cold mist crawls across the dark valleys of Bohemia. Torches flicker in the wind. Horses scream in the distance. But tonight, something is different. Tonight, the enemy won't be stopped by swords or cavalry. They will face a terrifying line of wooden, armored wagons, machines the world had never seen before. Rolling fortresses, the very first tanks of the battlefield. And when those wagons began to move, the course of European warfare changed forever. If you love discovering real war history, hidden weapons and battlefield secrets you won't find in books, then hit subscribe and join Military Voice. Your one click helps us bring you more powerful stories from the past. The year is 1420, and as those armored wagons begin to roll, the ground trembles like something ancient has awakened. You can almost hear the heartbeat of an army that refuses to kneel. The Hussites, farmers, craftsmen, simple villagers, are about to introduce a weapon Europe has never faced before. Not a sword, not a cavalry charge, but a moving fortress, the war wagon. Imagine standing on a cold hillside near Prague. Dawn is breaking, but slowly, hesitating, as if even the sun is unsure about witnessing the violence that's about to unfold. Thick smoke rises from burning farmhouses behind the Hussite lines. The Crusader armies march from the west, their banners snapping in the icy wind. Knights in plate armor, heavy cavalry polished like mirrors, archers with longbows strung tight. For centuries, this kind of army ruled Europe. They crushed peasants, they crushed rebels, they crushed anyone who didn't fight like they did. But today, they're about to meet something different. On the Hussite side, there are no noble knights, no elite cavalry, no glittering armor, just grim-faced men in patched clothes gripping the sides of wooden wagons. These wagons, heavy, reinforced with iron plates and thick oak, stand wheel to wheel, forming a ring. Inside each one sit crossbowmen, early handgunners, pikemen, and men holding crude gunpowder grenades. And in the center of this circle, a deep voice rises above the wind. Jan Žižka, a one-eyed commander who has never lost a battle, a man who fought with kings, then rebelled against them, a man with nothing left to fear. And as he walks between the wagons, tapping each shield and checking each bolt, he knows this is more than a battle. This is a message, a warning to every kingdom in Europe. Innovation can defeat tradition. The Crusader army approaches, confident and loud. Horses snort, metal clashes, priests chant Latin prayers, heralds shout warnings at the rebels. But Žižka doesn't flinch. He simply raises a hand. The wagons creak into position. Each one is linked by heavy chains hammered into the frozen earth. They're immovable, impenetrable, like a wooden wall, but with claws. Inside the wagons, gunners load their hoofness, the early ancestors of the modern howitzer. The name howitzer itself will someday come from these Czech guns, but right now no one knows that. Right now, all anyone knows is fear. A Crusader knight urges his horse forward and bellows, "Break the line! Ride them down!" And then it begins. The charge is thunder. Horses tear across the field, hooves pounding the earth into mud. Their armor gleams like fire under the rising sun. For generations, this unstoppable wall of metal has crushed everything in its path. Infantry scatter. Archers die before they can reload. Peasants run for their lives. But the Hussites don't run. They wait. 10 seconds. 8. 5. And then Zhizka's signal. A thunderclap erupts from the wagons. Smoke explodes outward, rolling like a gray wave. The sound shakes the hillside. Horses scream. Armored knights are thrown from their saddles as iron and lead tear through their ranks. Crossbow bolts shoot from slits in the wagon walls, piercing armor at close range. Early hand cannons flash like tiny fires in the mist. The charge slows. Some horses reach the wagons, but pikes slide out between the wheels, stabbing upward like a forest of steel. Knights topple off their mounts. More crusaders push forward, yelling, trying to climb the wooden barricades. But as soon as they reach the sides, Hussite fighters swing out with axes and flails, smashing hands, helmets, skulls. The wagons are no longer just defenses, they've become death machines. And here's the shocking part. This isn't just a wall. This is a tactic, a system, a prototype for mechanized combat centuries before tanks rolled into battle. Each wagon isn't randomly placed. It's a unit, a mobile platform for gunpowder, soldiers, and weapons that can move, stop, fire, and move again. The Crusaders retreat for a moment, shocked. No one in Europe has ever seen peasants hold against knights. Not like this. But commanders pushed them forward again. Pride is a dangerous thing. So is arrogance. They attack from the flank. But Zhizka saw it coming. He orders the wagons to pivot, not individually, but as a formation. Drivers crack whips, oxen strain in frozen soil, and suddenly the Hussite line moves, reshaping itself like a living creature. It's the closest thing the medieval world has seen to an armored vehicle maneuver. The Crusaders crash into a new wall of wagons. Another explosion of gunpowder. More smoke, more screaming horses, more fallen knights. And then Zhizka speaks a single word. Advance. The chains drop, the wagons unlock, and slowly, impossibly, the entire formation begins rolling downhill like an armored wave. Crossbowmen fire constantly, gunners reload and shoot from behind wooden shields, pikemen stab from the sides. The wagons crush fallen knights under their wheels as they push forward. No one expected this. Armored wagons? Advancing? This is not defense. This is offense. The Crusader line breaks. Panic spreads. Even trained knights begin to flee as the moving fortress pushes into their ranks. Horses rear, refusing to charge the roaring cannons. Arrows bounce harmlessly off thick planks. Soldiers slip in mud and blood as the wagons keep coming. And then, silence. Because the enemy begins to run. All at once. The hillside is littered with broken armor, discarded shields, and the first lesson Europe would learn about modern warfare. Technology, even crude technology, can shatter tradition. In the years that follow, the Hussite war wagon will dominate battlefields. Zhizka will remain undefeated until his dying breath. Commanders from Germany, Poland, and Hungary will try to copy the wagons, but none match the discipline and genius of the original crews. The idea, however, survives. Armored protection, plus mobile firepower, plus coordinated units. Centuries later, generals studying armored warfare will look back and say, This is where the concept of the tank was born. Not in steel factories, not in World War I, but in the muddy hills of Bohemia, under the command of a one-eyed rebel who believed peasants could fight empires. And for a moment, in 1420, they did, and they won.